Life and Wisdom Speaks podcast on Laws of Life with your host and mindset transformational life coach, Barb Cole. This is where we talk about the life cycle from the beginning to the end of time. We discuss parenting, love, family, relationships, and more with special guests from all walks of life. Keeping it real, raw, and uncut. So sit back and sip your favorite drink as we bring you an inspiring hour of deep stories, thought-provoking insight, wisdom, and laughter that will transform your life's journey towards a different mindset. This is the Life and Wisdom Speaks podcast. Here's Barb.
Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Life and Wisdom Speaks with your host, Barb Cole. And I have a special guest here today. I'm going to let her introduce herself to you, but just tell you a little about our podcast series here. Life and Wisdom Speaks is a podcast series that to me is like, it was like a baby. It had to grow in me for me to be able to bring this and birth this and bring it to, my listening audience. And I thank my Heavenly Father for giving me this, because it's just like any other birth, it comes to you by design, by God. He gives it to you, and then we go from there. You don't have any choice. You kind of flow with it. It's just the world we live in. It's the nature of it all. So Life and Wisdom Speaks is a podcast series. It all talks about the life cycle. I call it laws. Life and Wisdom Speaks is the acronym for this laws, because it's laws of life, and life has to start somewhere, and it starts with that birth. Without that birth, we cannot get this thing going. It's just not going nowhere without the birth. That's the initial of anything, is the birth of it all. And so again, my special guest today is Miss Rebecca, and she got this fancy last name, and she looks so beautiful in this gold. I told her this gold is her color. It just makes her look so vibrant. She's just glowing with it. So Rebecca, introduce yourself to everyone and tell them who you are, a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to take it on to the next question. All right?
Hi, thank you. My name is Rebecca Pierre-Louis. I go by Becca, so that's Becka. I am a wife, a mother. I am on my way entrepreneur. I make my own candle designs. I do have my podcast, and I am a cook too. I've been in the industry for like 12 years, and then
Wow. That's great. That's great. You're a busy young lady, girl. You're making it happen. Absolutely. Okay, then. Well, thank you so much. Now, tell us about your podcast. It's called Becca and Bottle. Tell us about it and how that came about. How did you come up with that name, and what were your podcast? What is it talking about?
So Becca and Bottle, of course, is me, Becca, and I said a bottle because where do you have the most conversation? With a bottle of wine. Mm-hmm. So why not share with everybody? So that's why it's Becca in a Bottle. So I'm letting my listeners know, like, hey, you're sitting with me at this table. We're drinking this bottle. Well, I'm drinking a bottle of wine. Whatever you're sipping on, we're sipping it together, and we're like two friends, conversation and talking.
All right. We need that sometime, Miss Becca. We need that sometime, just to bring it on down, girl, just to relax a little bit, need it sometime. I tell people, you can get whatever your choice is. You can have a glass of wine, you can have a glass of tea, you can have some coffee, whatever suits your fancy, whatever makes you feel good inside and out. Go for it. Exactly. Go for it. So if a glass of wine will do it, girl, you sound like my daughter. When she comes over, she has to have, she come in the door with hers. I said, girl, is this the Hilton to you? I tell everybody, I said, my kids think this is a Hilton hotel, girl. They come in with their bottle, they relax, she watch TV. I said, girl, this is not the Hilton. She said, Mom, but it's just so relaxing. I must bring the wine to just relax. I said, okay, if that makes you feel good after a crazy week or, doing what you do, then hey, enjoy yourself. But you're not bothering me. Matter of fact, pass me a glass. Pass me a glass. what are we she called it sipping and dipping. What are we sipping and dipping on today? So That's her thing right there with the glass of wine. So, Rebecca, we're going to talk about today's episode, and we're still in that series called Birth, which is the beginning, and Parents. They kind of go together because, it is what it is. You birth, you become a parent. So the episode that you and I talked about, that I was very passionate about having you on the show to discuss, because when I met you and via our platform, you talked about having a baby during the pandemic. There are a lot of women that have had babies during this pandemic. A lot of women have. A lot of women that really expect to have a baby someday, but this happened to be your season that you had a baby during the pandemic, which, not to say that others are not going to have one coming down the road. And for those who had babies before the pandemic, what makes this unique to me is that you are one of the ones that were chosen to have a baby during this time. So kind of share with us what that's all about. And I'm going to share the topic with everybody. This episode, again, guys, is called Pregnancy and Birth During the Pandemic. And my guest today, she's going to talk about this. How did it make you feel to be one of the chosen ones to bring new life into this world currently in your life? So how did it feel to bring new life into this world in your life? Because it's all a part of you. Whatever you do is a part of you. So having your baby is a part of you. It's a new journey that you're about to venture onto, that you have ventured into. And then how do you incorporate all of that into your new world? I know you do with the greatest of ease, because we all are given that ability to be moms and to do what we need to do. Even mothers who may not be the birth mom, but they are given that ability that they can just, it's just something that goes on inside. It just happens. They just feel like, okay, I need to take care of this baby. This baby needs me. And that's the assignment that was given to you. So, hey, Rebecca, tell us, just kind of share us a little bit of what it's like from the beginning when you first realized that you were pregnant, or even before you even thought about getting pregnant. Just kind of share from that segment of what this is all about, and we're going to move on through.
Okay. So in the beginning, I guess, like, let's say talking about being pregnant, my husband and I, we had discussed it, and we even tried, but we did not succeed for 6 months. And I thought it was me. Like, even though the doctors checked me and such, and they said there was nothing wrong with your uterus, it was just not happening. And
Right.
after 6 months, you get tired of always seeing the test saying negative. And the day I found out, which was interesting, my period was late, but instead of me assuming I was pregnant, I thought I was going through menopause. Now, let me say, before you jump to it, because I know a lot of people jump to it.
Yeah.
When I was 8, I started my first period.
Okay.
So I hear if you start your period early, you start menopause early.
Yeah, makes sense.
I thought I was going through menopause, and I didn't want to accept the fact, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still young. Why am I going through this? And sometimes I felt like I was regretting not having a child earlier. So I was at my best friend's house, and I guess she just wanted to cheer me up. So she was like, hey, let's both take pregnancy tests together. She trying to make the fun of it. So, she took her test, I took my test. The test I had, it showed me 2 lines. So I was like, oh, okay, this might be a bad batch, because, she had these for a while.
Right.
So I was like, hey, there was 2 lines on that. I think you have a bad batch. And she got excited, but she was like, no, let's double check. So she had me, kid you not, drink like half a gallon of water. And we went for a walk. When I had the urge to pee, I went back home, took 3 more tests, 1 digital and 2 of the others. And all 3 of them said pregnant. And I was like, okay, listen, something's wrong with the batches you got. So I kid you not, I drank some water again, and we went out, bought new pregnancy tests, and then I used it, pregnant. And I was just like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like, I'm really pregnant.
Yes.
Like, I was shocked, and I was excited, and I was like, oh my gosh. But at the same time, I was scared because, we had the pandemic. So I was like, am I about to be pregnant?
Right.
During the pandemic, am I really safe? So that was my concern. But the journey, it was like, I had a smooth pregnancy. Like, I didn't have like morning sickness or all the stuff they say you would have. The only cravings I had was the Lay's salt and vinegar chips. Like, that one moment, I don't know why. I had a smell of vinegar and I just was craving salt and vinegar chips.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so weird.
Do you still eat them?
Nope.
That was just during that time.
It was just during that time.
Yeah.
I felt sorry for that gas station I went to because they had like a whole shelf and I bought the whole shelf. I was
Oh,
like,
no, girl, you did not clean them out.
I cleaned them out. I was like, listen, sir, I need this covered because I'm trying to save my husband because I will make him do this trip if I don't do this.
Wow.
So, but I did have concerns because they said in the third trimester, your baby's supposed to move a lot. And my son didn't move as much as I thought he would, so it did have me concerned.
Right.
And I did have doctors that were telling me like, oh, you're 30, so you're at risk for Down syndrome or like just a list of stuff that could affect a baby when you have them at an older age.
What age again?
I was 30. Yeah.
30 is not old, girl.
Girl, they made it seem like it was old because they was like, why didn't you have your child sooner? And I was like, I wasn't married sooner.
Yeah. I mean, I've never heard of such. I mean, 30, you've got a chance to do some things in life. A lot of people work on their career. They kind of put some things in place before they start having children. But truth be told, it's not a matter of when you want to, it's when God says so. So that was just your season. That was your season. That's when he said, Miss Becca's about to go ahead and bring forth child. That's just what this is. Even though you can plan the way you want life to be, it doesn't always flow like we plan. It's called destiny. It's just going to happen the way it's supposed to be. But 30 is not old. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, 30 is young.
I'm telling you, baby, it seemed like I was old. I was like, I'm just 30, like,
yes,
close to 40 or 50. Even if I was 40 or 50, I feel like those are still young ages. Like, I'm not, so they had me run tests and such. But, by the grace of God, because trust me, I did pray over my belly. All those tests was negative. So.
Good. I couldn't believe they scared you like that, tell you all that kind of stuff, I'm shocked at that. My daughter had her baby older than 30, but it was a long time. She couldn't get pregnant. She just could not get pregnant. I kept telling her, it's not your season. It's not your season. And she was just panicking, freaking out. Well, Mom, why can't I have a baby? You'll have one when God tell you it's time to have one. So if I'm not mistaken, I think my daughter may have been 40. I think she may have been 40 when she had her baby, but it changed her life. I mean, it changed her life for the good. It give her more purpose, having this little girl that she's raising, I mean, she was married, she's gone through divorce, but like I told her, it doesn't matter. You still can do what you have to do. You will step to the plate and get it done. Don't let this scare you. You're going to get it done. So I applaud you, Rebecca, moving past that, telling you 30, but with talking to you, you come across a very strong and wise young lady. Very so you're wiser beyond your years. And sometimes people don't realize that's a blessing, that you are wise enough to understand a lot of things at an early age. And you are, some people, girl, they be pushing 50 and still don't, just not clicking on all four cylinders. It's just the world we live in. They have not found their purpose yet. And that's okay. There's no one can judge anybody because, hey, I'm one of them. I'm busy ripping and running, doing my thing, thinking I having it going on with all the things I have going in my world. But I realized that I was doing what I wanted to do. I was not doing what God wanted me to do. So he had to just say, okay, I'm going to shut you down. I'm going to shut you down, woman, right there. I'm going to shut that one down. And he did, so that I could evaluate and reanalyze my life. So that again is another reason why I brought about this series called Life and Wisdom Speaks, because it's all about my journey as well. And I like to be able to share the journey of others like yourself and what they do and what they bring to the table, because you guys you're the legacy. You bringing about, new baby, a new child who is going to be your future too. So these things that you do here, if we can share with other people and it can help them, then that's what it's all about, paying it forward to help somebody else. So again, thank you for sharing all that information with us. Now, I want to ask you this question here. Do you remember anything about when you were a baby that your mother, your parents share with you or did with you that you are doing the same thing with your baby?
Ooh.
I got you with that one, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Because honestly, this is my story. My parents divorced when I was 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a lot of my parents together.
Mm-hmm.
I just have mostly of my mother, you
Okay.
know. And I know one thing my mom did. It used to aggravate me, but now it's like I appreciate it. Is every time she cooks, she stopped me in the middle of my show. Don't matter how important that show is, she will stop my show, take me to the kitchen. Mind you, I'm not even tall enough to look over the counter.
Oh,
She'll put a chair
wow.
right next to her, have me on that chair, be like, watch. And what else?
Was she showing you how to cook?
She would teach me how to cook.
How old were you?
I think probably as young as like 6.
Oh, you were a little one too.
I
But
was
she was
small.
teaching you. So are you a good cook now?
Oh, yes.
Girl, see there, pay it off. She showed you early about that, about how to do
So
those things. That's good.
with me remembering that, I was like, I'm gonna do the same thing for my son. I know it's a boy, but listen, until he until he finds a wife that cooks better
That's
than him,
right.
I'm gonna teach him how to cook.
That's right. Absolutely. Same thing, what you just said with my son. You have to teach them how to cook and clean and take care of themselves and be self-sufficient and independent. You have to teach them that. And I'm the same way as you, He got to eat too, girl. He can't wait on a woman to cook his meal. And he doesn't want to eat
Exactly.
out. So yeah, it's good that you're going to teach him when you feel the time is right so he can understand how to go in that kitchen and prepare a meal or whatever. So that's great. That's great. So what else you got for me?
Okay, what else did my parents show me? I don't know. One thing my mom was strong on was God. It always God, like God everything. Like I don't think there was ever a day we did not go to church.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So God was always the priority of everything, no matter what.
Right.
Um, Saturday cleaning,
Yes.
and oh my gosh. And see, I had people where there was like, oh yeah, my mom used to play gospel and this and that. I'm like, at least she played your music. My mom yanked me out of bed.
Yeah.
And if I didn't want to get up, she used to throw water at me.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Get
So
up.
these are things
Let's
that
go.
you remember, as a kid that you're going to pay it. You're going to share these same things with your child. Maybe not everything that you encounter as a kid, and that's all of us, but there's some things that stay with us and they become a part of us in our journey. We pay it forward to our children and to our family members. So that's one of the things that I want to bring out because you can't help it. It's all part of the journey. Yeah. So when you became pregnant with your baby and what's your baby's name again?
Logan.
Logan, girl. That's a sharp name there. That's a sharp name. So Mr. Logan. So when you were pregnant with Logan and once you had your baby, what about having a child? Did it change your purpose? Did it change your direction in life? What did it do to your mindset as far as moving forward in life?
I think for me, he boosted, like, one, it was motivation, boosting me
Mhm.
to like do better, not just only for myself, but for him.
Right.
I realized I became more protective.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, I start to stop caring about other people's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to be big, like before him, I used to always worry about other people's opinion, trying to make other people happy and such. But now since I had him,
It's
I just,
him.
yeah, it's just him. It's like,
Yes.
hey, he's all
Yeah.
that, man. I don't care what you think or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And sometimes it's like you fight with yourself, like the person you were before you had a child and the person
Right.
you are after you have a child.
Right.
But now into this motherhood life, it's just like, I see myself in a whole different view where it's like, where was
Right.
this person before I had this child?
Right.
And I think, like, because sometimes I even tell my husband, I say, I think we should have had him sooner because like there's a lot of things I'm realizing that I didn't see before. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I guess the way I could say it is my son lifted up a curtain that I didn't know was
Right.
my view and the reality of life.
Right. And that's a strong point, Rebecca, that you just made. And that's for all of us, because we don't realize it until we have hit that juncture in our life. It's like the light is shining in front of you, or the blinders are off. Like I had another guest talked about, having blinders on like a horse. Basically you don't really see what's in front of you. But when you have a child, you see things differently. Your world opens up in a way that you didn't even know that was possible. It opens up your eyes, and you just, like, again, you reevaluate, you reassess your life, determine, okay, what's next, and whatever is next is going to include my son. Whatever's going on next, he's first and foremost, because this is a part of my journey. So thank you for sharing that too, because that's a valid point that we all have to incorporate. Now, that I've seen where some people don't really gravitate to that this child, their purpose, and this child is going to change the dynamics of their life. It's not, you don't have to shut down your world, but you have to learn how to incorporate a child into your world. It doesn't mean that things just shut down and you become just whatever. You learn how to roll with all of it. It becomes a part of you, and you're happy with it. It's just the world you live in now. So you make the best of it. And it's not a negative, it's really a plus, because it helps, like you say, open up your mind to things, and it helps you to evolve as a person. So I'm going to bring one more thing here up here to you, because I know we've kind of run out of time here, and we've had a great conversation. And I'm going to just add one more here. I guess what I can do here at this point in time, how old's your baby?
10 months.
10 months?
Tell
us how busy he is, because I've seen babies at this, during this pandemic. They are very unique, girl. They're some busybodies. They can come here and almost be ready to walk, talk. Tell us, Rebecca, please.
Okay. Let me start with the day he was born. When he was born, he came out small, and not too small. He was 5 pounds 12 ounces. Okay. But he looked small, so they were concerned.
Right.
And I think, when a baby is born, they want to make sure the baby can poop and like pee. And right away, literally, the nurse told me, she was like, "Hey, your son is doing well and his digestive system is working." I was like, "Okay, how you know?" He's like, "Oh, he just pooped and pee on himself, but don't worry, we caught it." And,
wow.
And I was like, I don't know if that's the first introduction you want to do for me.
Yes.
But he was crying. Like, I did hear one, which is crazy, because throughout the pregnancy, I was not emotional at all, nothing. But as soon as I heard him cry, I think the floodgates was open. I was crying. I couldn't control myself. And then what had bothered me was when they told me that his temperature was off and his sugar was off. But to me, I'm looking at him, I was like, he's fine. And I'm telling the nurses, I was like, he's fine. And they was like, no, we have to run these tests. Mm-hmm. So there was a 24-hour test. And every hour they're checking on him. And I felt like my heart hurt, because the sugar test, they have to like prick his feet to get some blood. Right. And every time he start crying, but they'll tell me like, no, you got to leave him in the incubator to level out his temperature.
Right.
So I was like, okay. But then when he's crying, and one thing is, I'm not saying for every hospital or every nurse, but I just felt like these nurses weren't hearing me, because I'm ringing the button. They told me in case he cries, nobody came.
Yes.
So I told my husband, I said, go get the baby. Go get our baby.
Right.
Bring him to me. I'm not going to wait for somebody to feel like they want to come see me. Mm-hmm. My kid needs me. I'm here. So I grabbed my son. Once I put him on my chest, he was sound asleep. A nurse came to check on me, and she saw that the baby was out. And right away, she was getting upset and wanted to correct me. And I was like, let me tell you something. I rung that bell for the past 5 minutes. Nobody came. I'm not going to sit here and listen to a crying baby, especially my baby. Okay? If you got a problem, you can feel free to kick me out. I'll go to another hospital.
Listen to you, Miss Rebecca. That mother instinct kicked in, girl. See that? I'm a brand new mother, girl. You jumped on it. See, it naturally occurred. Your baby was crying, and you felt that your baby needed you, and he did. You calmed him down.
Exactly. So the nurse got quiet. She walked away, and then they sent someone else to talk to me. I was like, listen, I'm just going to pick him up. I'm not going to call you guys no more. You guys come every hour anyway. So whether you see me or not, he's going to be here. He has two
Right.
spots, the incubator or, my chest. You guys said that he needs skin to skin. So what's the problem?
That's right. That's right.
You tell me he needs skin to skin, but then you tell me he needs to stay in the incubator. Like, pick one. Because by the end of the day, he's not out and about. He's in 2 locations that will keep his temperature leveled. And then I think the next day, I guess the same nurse that was trying to correct me had saw again my son was on my chest. So she disappeared and sent in another nurse. So the other nurse checked my son. And she was like, hey, I'm starting to notice that his temperature is doing better with you than with the incubator.
Girls, hush. See what I'm talking about right there? See that mother instinct kicked in. And not only just that, God was telling you what to do. That's your baby. That's your baby that God gave to you. You were not going to let somebody else dictate policy. I understand, but to them, that's their job. It's protocol. But your baby was calling you in a way that you sensed it and you picked him up and skin to skin, all that. It helped him. And he's doing fine today.
Oh, he's doing good. Like, I don't know. To me, I felt like the test was worthless because even after the 24 hours, they ran it again because one test was off. And I was like, okay, you guys just want me here for nothing. And I kept telling the nurse, I was like, I'm not even supposed to stay here past 3 days. Like, I was ready to give birth and get out of here. I don't even like hospitals. But he was fine. Even when he did his 1 month doctor visit, the doctor read the chart and they looking at him and his vitals and they was like, did he have any issues at the hospital? I said, I think your nurses had issues or just wanted something to do. And I don't know. And I guess my baby just won the raffle of sepsis. What else? At 2 months, yes, you won't believe it, but at 2 months, he started picking up his head. My son started picking up his head.
At 2 months?
At 2 months.
So he was strong enough to raise his head up.
I even reported it when I told the doctor, I kid you not, his pediatrician didn't believe me until I showed her a recording. I think this kid's picking up his own head.
Wow.
And then at 4 months, he started moving around a little bit. He started rolling over and they were saying
he can roll his body over, Rebecca.
Yeah. 4 months.
At 4 months.
Girl,
you see our babies, our children of the future. If they're not going to be running things, we're going to have to sit back and just, take notes because they are going to be able to run things and they're going to know what they're doing. They're smart.
These babies are doing it. Babies, because I always thought, I was like, when I heard, seeing videos of different babies, I was like, oh, that's these babies. These are unique. But now I'm seeing my son, even now, my son doesn't crawl. He gets on his walk, he military crawls to his walker, get on it, boom, he's on the road.
How old is he now doing this?
He's 10 months. He started doing, he always wanted to walk, but he never had anything to support him. So it's always me or his dad holding him.
Yeah.
So his godmother bought him a walker. Once he had a grip of it, this kid was out of here.
Girls, look how sharp he is. He's 10 months already going on 10 years of age.
I'm telling you, he's going to be a leader because I see if there's something blocking his walker, he pushes it. He's like, hey, you need to move. And
he figures it out. I mean, it's like the initiative is there. He figures it out and he just go for it. No, don't ask permission. Kind of like the mama. You didn't ask permission to pick up your baby. You picked up your baby.
So,
girl,
I'm telling you, this kid,
that is awesome.
I'm not gonna lie, I still have my moments because he's 10 months. He's 2 months away from 1 year old.
Yes.
Now I'm not ready to embrace it because I'm like, listen, I just brought you from the hospital. Now you're moving, talking, but he forms his own words and such. So it's amazing. It's a journey. I feel like I'm still learning because it's my first child. I'm always gonna learn something new. But it's a journey I don't regret.
That's great. I'm so proud of you and I'm so glad for you. And I appreciate you sharing your journey with us because there are women that are looking forward to having a baby. And when that season comes about, then they will take some of the things that they've heard you talk about and they say, I remember Rebecca talking about this on that podcast, about her baby at 10 months, what he was doing, raising up his head at, 4 months. These are things that help others. And I appreciate you sharing that because I'm sitting here listening to your story and I can see him right now doing what you said he was doing. I wish he was where you can just show how you just have this beautiful baby boy that, is our leader for tomorrow, one of our leaders for tomorrow. But I know he's probably taking a nap, so I'm not going to have you disturb him.
I guess like when I went in to change, he was up and I was like, oh, but my husband came in from work too. So I was like, hey, your turn.
Yes, that's good, girl. I'm glad that worked out for you. I'm glad it worked out for you where we can have this episode. You can talk about what you have. But if he was awake and you had him here, that just makes it even better because people can see that Logan is a healthy, happy baby boy. So I'm really happy for you. So we're going to get ready to wrap this up. And one more thing, if you can share with our audience how they can find your podcast, where you are, like what platforms, if you're on YouTube, where are you where people can find you, and give us the name of your podcast again.
Okay, so I'm on Spotify, I am on YouTube, and I'm on Anchor. It's Becca in a Bottle. So it's Becka, the character that makes the and sign, and bottle.
Okay.
So you will find me there. Sometimes I have guests, sometimes it's just me, myself, but one thing for sure, you will feel like we've been friends forever when you listen to my podcast.
That's right. That's right. I'm very impressed with you and I'm very proud of what you're doing, in your personal and in your podcast career. So good luck with everything that you're doing here. And hey, guys, we're going to wrap this up. And hey, guys, make sure you share this episode of Life and Wisdom Speaks with my special guest, Miss Rebecca. And Rebecca, give us your last name. How do you say it? Is it French?
I think it's French because my family's trying to figure it out. It's Pierre-Louis.
Yes, I was just gonna say that's a French name. So yeah, thank you for being on this podcast today of Life and Wisdom Speaks and sharing your journey of being a new mother during this pandemic and sharing information and wisdom to other ladies that are looking forward to, moms and dads both are looking forward to having a baby, and those that have children right now, just so they can just hear the difference in their babies and your baby and those that had babies back when, because back then when we had babies, they were not doing what these babies do. That's why I know that this is a whole new world that we're about to embark on, because our babies didn't do all that right there. It probably would have scared me if my baby did all that. It would have scared me. I'm like, wait a minute, this baby is doing what? It's just, the world we lived in and then and now. So Rebecca, thank you so much for being on this episode of Life and Wisdom Speaks. And again, the topic today was your journey of becoming a mom during the pandemic, and just how did it change your journey and your life. So thank you so much, and you have a great day.
You too, love.
Thank you. Enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to another episode of the Life and Wisdom Speaks podcast with your host, Barb Cole. Thank you to our listeners and sponsors. And don't forget to share and sign up for upcoming episodes of Laws of Life with your host, Barb Cole, and guests, as we all grow towards a new mindset, towards a new you.